What's up, everybody, and welcome in to another edition of Big Men on Basketball. Today is Friday, February 10th, 2023. We're here wrapping up the week on the Barstool Sports YouTube channel. I am your host, Jeff Nadu, and it is a fun Friday here. We got football, our final football Friday of the season. College football is long gone, and the NFL will wrap up this weekend with the Super Bowl. Eagles, Chiefs. We'll give you your last-minute thoughts and my last-minute thoughts on the big game on Sunday. Also, we have some college hoops tonight, as well as a bevy of basketball over the weekend. And we're going to welcome in our new guest for the first time. It is a man who many people have not seen in a bit, but he's here today. It's Ben Mintz. Ben, how are you?
Man, I'm doing great, Jeff. Thanks for coming on. I've been looking forward to coming on this show for a while. You know, I'm a big fan of your college basketball analysis, especially. So, and you know, if people have followed my Twitter, I'm literally on the biggest. This is probably the biggest college basketball heater I've ever been on. I'm 21-5 in my last 26. It's wild.
I mean, that is hard to do. And
it's crazy, man. I'll say this. You know, you're a very honest guy with it too. There have been some 50-50 games that are going my way. You know, I certainly think that's part of it. Like, I mean, I've been pretty dominant right on a lot of them, but there have been 4 or 5 toss-ups I've been on the right side of. But, hey, man, anytime you're on a run like this, that's part of it.
You know, it's interesting. You reached out to me yesterday, mentioned to me, like, Purdue. I kind of felt good about that because I had mentioned on the show I like Purdue. And then you mentioned to me as well that you liked Oregon. Late night. That was another winner. You definitely remember these runs you go on, these 2-3 week runs where everything feels great. And that's the thing about gambling, as you know, you play a lot of poker, it's always great when you're at a table, when you're winning, you never want the night to end, but you also remember those nights where you can't hit a damn card. You can't hit a damn game. So it's highs, it's lows. But yeah, you just got to keep rocking and keep it going for as long as you can. But that's very hard to do what you're doing.
I think a couple of things, and this is some stuff I'm complimenting you on your show. You're always selective. You know, you're not a guy like Big Cat putting 19 plays out. No. And I was overdoing it this year. Like, I mean, I was putting out, I still had a good college football season, but I was putting out like 12 to 15 plays when you need to be doing 5 to 8 tops. And Sundays I was having 12. And you know what I've been doing lately? I'm just like, why the hell are you doing that? Like, everybody that actually does this professionally at a top level is selective and aggressive. They find their few they like, they push their freaking chips in the middle. And, if you spread yourself out too much, the juice is, the VIG's going to eat you alive. And so what I've done lately is I'm putting 1, 2, on a Saturday when there's a huge card, maybe I put 4 or 5 out. But I've just been so much more selective, and it's working. And the other thing about college basketball, I'm curious to hear what you say about this. Man, no one wins on the road. There's never a bigger sport with a bigger home field advantage than college basketball. And so I'm fading the sucker road favorite short lines, like the highly ranked teams. Then we'll get into one tomorrow, which is Bama Auburn. But, when a highly ranked team that's like number 4 is favored by 3 on the road against an unranked team, people are just losing their asses betting the rankings and the spots.
Well, it comes full circle to this show because Kelly in Vegas and I have and I've talked about this for years, exactly what you're talking about. The unranked team at home that's a favorite against a top 15, top 20 team, even a top 10 team last week like Purdue in Indiana. You will win long-term. And when you get to that point as a gambler where you're betting on the dogs or the small favorites in those spots, that's how you know when you've arrived as a gambler and you know what you're doing. And yes, you cannot win betting a lot of games. I've always been selective. It's quality over quantity. It's always worked for me. And you're right. I think on a Saturday, when you have 130, 140 games, you step out and you play, 5 or 6. But I think on a card like tonight, I'm looking to find one banger of a game and playing it. And I will say, if you're going to back a road team, you need to highlight and locate the teams that are very good on the road. I'm talking about 9-4, 10-3 against the spread on the road. Guys that and groups that have been particularly strong on the road. But Ben, I got to ask you, you are always under the microscope. You're one of the
I feel like you're a little bit of like this too, man. I think we're both kind of lightning rods a little bit. And
yeah, and I think you're surely one because you're kind of this guy that you're kind of hot and cold with Dave, right? There'll be times where Dave is all about Mincy, and then it's I remember particularly one of the great interactions between you two was the college baseball stuff, where you would kind of he walked in and he saw you and you kind of went back and forth. Also, obviously,
when he wore the Arkansas jersey after I told him to bet Arkansas to win it all and they lost. Yeah.
And then you were obviously got by Tommy Smokes with the robbery thing. And that was very funny. But recently you are one of the only employees that I think has to report into Dave what you do on a weekly basis. And you came under fire recently after you showed like the notes section of like your plan each week. Now, I know what you meant, and I think it got confused. I think you wrote other stuff as
I do that. I've been doing that every day. So I'm sending Dave. Dave asked me to send him a daily report every day. And like people are like, oh, that sucks. You have to do that. Like, no, it doesn't. I get 30 seconds or a minute of Dave Portnoy's time. That's a great thing. So, I mean, in these reports, look, I know, and you blogs, I've seen you've been blogging. Dave, like Barstool, old school Barstool was a blog. Mm-hmm. And, I know blogging is not the sexiest thing in the world. And honestly, I kind of suck at it. I'm not really that great. But I know if I write 3 blogs a day, it's going to keep Dave off, not off my back, but at least that's big to him. So I'm trying to make sure I do 3 blogs, 2 to 3 videos. And then I have been writing the other stuff. And I know that came under fire. But other stuff's creative ideas, whether it be phone calls, sponsors, shared bet slips, gambling ideas, whatever, events. And so, yeah, I know it kind of came under fire, but like, whatever. I thought it was funny.
That blog you wrote about, you kind of went back and forth with Francis on some stuff. That was really funny. I don't think the people that always have something to say, the people that watch Barstool that always have something to say are generally the ones that don't seem to understand it. I hear all the time, I don't do anything. When the truth of the matter is, I mean,
you got a podcast, you got a daily show, you're putting out pics, you're blogging, right, you're putting out stuff all the time.
If you go on like my YouTube channel, like I crank out constant, like I'm trying to create revenue every different way. But a lot of people don't understand that when you get clicks on these videos that you do, these quarrels you get in, the dozen stuff. I mean, that's all very important to the layout of Barstool because you have an opportunity anytime you speak, Ben, to go viral. And I think that's so important. And the people that truly are behind the scenes at Barstool know that. But I'm happy to have you here because, you're hot right now, first of all. But,
oh, yeah.
But let me ask you, that other stuff thing, that was not meant to say like, that was just the other stuff you have.
That I did that day. No, the other stuff that day. And like I put, I work a lot with the charity Hogs for the Cause down here that, and, I've been working on that stuff behind the scenes lately. We've got we're having Dave retweeted this troll with me yesterday too, or on Wednesday, but we're having an official Barstool Sports night at the Pelicans game on March 11th. And dude, that's a big deal, man. Having them embrace that. We're having a happy hour with Megan Making Money, Alex and I, and Dave said only 2 months to go. Like people were like, oh, Dave's making fun of you. I'm like, hell no. I mean, yeah, he's making fun of me, but he's also happy we got a Barstool night at a freaking NBA game. That's his way of promoting it.
This, I think this was probably before you came to Barstool. This was the first time I was at Barstool a few years ago. At one point, Dave called me the dumbest person on the planet on a tweet. And it doesn't matter if Dave's negatively talking about you, positively talking about you. If he's talking about you, you're important and you mean something. And I think you're kind of the center of that. You've created a racket of really just being under the microscope, and you always have something. So, and you're always doing other stuff too. So I'm fascinated by it, and I'm sure you're a lot happier down there, aren't you?
Yeah, and well, I think it's I'm starting to get into a groove down here, but some of the stuff I'm going to get into, and I know we're going to get into gambling, so I'm not going to try to go too long-winded on this. But college baseball season starts next Friday, and you can gamble on that on the Sportsbook. I won 50 units during the NCAA tournament last year.
That's impressive.
I caught fire. Like, I redeemed myself after I'd had that off a year before. But I'm going to be doing a lot of blogs and videos and really trying to take the college baseball content, especially with me being in the South where the fan base is, you're drawing 10,000 fans for SEC games at a lot of these schools. So I'm going to be doing a lot of that. I'm loving we got Mardi Gras going on in New Orleans. We're having a Barstool Sportsbook event with that. Looking for, got basically a lot of stuff coming. I'm working on a show that people are kind of starting to laugh at me about because I hadn't got it going, but I'm working on a morning show. But I'm actually trying to rent a studio out, and I'm building a set deck for it. I'm coming out of my pocket on all that. And, you obviously know, I see how you're set up. You have a good setup. That stuff takes time. And I think, you only get one first impression. And so, yeah, it's taken a couple more weeks than I thought it would. But, I think the money I'm investing and the people I'm investing in are going to make it worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm someone that, in what I've done with like the sit down, I mean, all of it is through what I've done. I have my own producer, I have my own everything. So I think you have to kind of take some of your own time, your own money, and put stuff into it sometimes. And, I think long term, if you do it the right way, you'll have success with it. And a morning show is a great idea. And college baseball is a niche market that not a lot of people are in. And I think, you're smart to get in it. Definitely made your way with that. I want to welcome everybody in. As always, thank you for watching the show. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Somebody says, who is this guy and how do I follow him? Well, we'll put his Twitter account in the chat. This is Barstool Mincy, Ben Mintz. Check him out. He's one of our esteemed folks here at Barstool. Ben, what are you? You're in New Orleans, right? Right in the city?
I am. So I moved down. I'm excited about this. I moved back to New Orleans at the end of the year. I actually signed a new 3-year contract with Barstool late last year. And as part of the negotiation, the first thing I asked Erica, I was like, look, I've given it 2 years in New York. Like, it's been a great experience, but I don't feel at home here. Can I move back to the South? And she said, well, where are you thinking? I'm like, I want to move back to New Orleans. I'm sure of it. With the Saints, the Pelicans, Mardi Gras, Jazz Fest, the food, the music, the gambling. Barstool Sportsbook is live in Louisiana. So we have Penn properties, LeBair's Baton Rouge, LeBair's Lake Charles, Margaritaville Bossier with Barstool Sportsbooks. I mean, there's just so much content that can be done down here. And they want me growing the South. And so Dave and Erica immediately greenlit it. They said, no problem on you moving back to New Orleans. And so I'm here. And it's – I lived down here from 2009 to 14. I moved down here before the Saints Super Bowl. And it's kind of full circle coming back here, Jeff, because that was my wilder days in 13 and 14. And I really kind of blew it on my way out of New Orleans. I left pretty broke and in debt, leaving the poker world to go back to school. And I've always kind of wanted redemption, a little New Orleans redemption in my life. And this is that chapter the next couple
Well, I have to admit, the house you're in right now looks about as New Orleans as it gets. If I know what a New Orleans house looks like. By the way, before we get into the games, Takuchi says Mincy is a true king of the South. 100% agree. Fuck Brandon Walker. I agree. I agree with that. Now let's get into the games tonight. Now, Ben, you mentioned to me that you have some NBA, which we'll get from you, obviously. But I want to quickly just touch on a couple of games tonight here in college basketball. You've mentioned you're kind of killing it. There's not a huge card tonight. There are some interesting spots, though. The first game I want to get into quickly, Big East. You got the Xavier Musketeers and the Butler Bulldogs. Now, we have talked about Butler ad nauseum on this program. Ben, I'm not sure if you know this. This group has lost 7 games in the Big East by 19 or more points.
Yeah, I went through them today. I actually was looking at this game. Dreadful. I did some research because this is a game. My instincts, the way I like to play stuff is I hold my nose and hit submit on home underdogs like this all the time, where it's like you're wincing when you do it. You're like, I know I'm taking this shitty team, but this was what I was talking about, fading like highly ranked road favorites. But I ultimately decided I can't pull the trigger on Butler because, like you said, they've gotten blown out at home 3 different times. I know one of them was by Providence in late December, and there were a couple more I saw. And so, I don't know that I trust them enough to take them.
I got to admit, and I'm just going to be real. I know Fremantle's out. I thought this number looked almost too low. I feel like you're goading into taking Xavier here. I think something weird happens on a Friday night here where Xavier just goes on the road, can't make any shots.
Yeah.
I've known over the years, whether it's Thad Matta or Lavelle Jordan, whoever, that is a really tough place to go play basketball. And at some point, you're bound to get a Butler team to play hard in a game like this where they don't get blown out. They just hang around. And I will say, Xavier is really reliant on the half court, getting into the half court, running in transition. They don't shoot a ton of threes, even though they've been very good from 3. I get a weird premonition that Butler hangs in this game. Maybe it's like an 81-75 type of game. Something tells me that Butler finally throws out a good effort here. I will say, and I've said before, this conference is very hard to bet, very hard. But I think you're getting a Xavier team, little fat and happy, don't have one of their best players. And I get a feeling spirited Butler plays well. I will say, fucking ad nauseum, I'm not playing this game, but I'm going to maybe jump on a live spot here. I got a weird feeling Butler hangs around.
Yeah, so I like I said, Butler was the only game I was considering because I'm releasing my favorite play of the day now on shared bet slips, and it was Purdue yesterday. I know we were both on that last night. I was looking at Butler, but ultimately the Big East is hard to read. And Saturday having such a big card, I was like, you know what? I'm going to stick with what I know tonight. We'll get into that in a minute, but I'm all over like the Pelican stuff, and we'll get to that if we talk.
Yeah, and I think it's just you always have to kind of say where do I not have success? And there's a place I don't really have success, and that's the Big East. And time again, we've seen Butler get absolutely smashed in this spot. You'd have to hope at some point there's a spirited effort. Maybe it's here, but it's not a spot that I'm interested in playing, to be real honest. Lean Butler, but didn't get there with it. The play that I am going to make tonight, and I've already played it, Youngstown. Okay, I've talked about time again. This team is very good, and I think they can win a game or two in March. They're the best team in the horizon, and I don't think it's close. They're one of the best road teams in America against the spread. They're one of the best ATS teams in general, overall in America. This is a Fort Wayne team that I'm just going to come out and say it. I don't think they're very good. I mean, they've struggled time and time again to win against really anyone of conscience. They've lost games time and time again, and they have a couple of wins against bad teams in this conference. Youngstown has answered the call every time. This is one of the best offenses in America. Nobody talks about. And Ben, something really underrated about Youngstown, they shoot it at almost 80% from the free throw line. They can take their lead and extend their lead. I just don't think IPFW is very good, and I don't really worry too much about them. Plus, remember, the one game that Fort Wayne has won in conference, there hasn't been many. They're actually playing their revenge. Youngstown has lost 3 straight against IPFW. I think they get off the schneid and win going away here. I'm going to kind of assume they take care of business here and win by 2 or 3 possessions. I'm going to lay it with Youngstown.
Okay, well, a big thing if you're laying points like that, and this game's on the this game's at IPFW.
It is, but as I said,
the 80% free throw shooting though, man. We talked a bit off the air, but how it's like we don't trust many teams on the road in college basketball, but like having a team that can shoot free throws at the end, obviously that.
And again, my whole thing is when you look at on the road this year, I want to get the exact number. Youngstown State been 9-3 against the spread on the road. That is really good. I'm in. I'm going to play it here. -3.5, Youngstown State. One other game I just wanted to throw out there. A late night game that I think is really interesting is we're seeing Nevada, okay, is almost a double-digit home favorite, which makes sense. They're very good in that building. But I see a total at 132. Ben, I'll just say this. There are 2 teams that are exquisite at not letting you get into transition. It is these 2 teams. Okay. They're very good at making you kind of play in the half court. Nevada's a lot slower than they've been in years past, and Fresno plays to a crawl. I think this total is probably right around where it should be. I got a weird suspicion this one's like 70 to 57. Okay. I kind of want to lean under here. I think this number's a little too high even. Fresno really struggles to score. So just kind of a thought here. Did you have any premonition on any of these games tonight? It's not a real great card.
No, like college, like I said, Butler +7 as a home dog was the only one I had premonition on. I do have the one NBA thing. I'm living in New Orleans. I'll just say it. I've got the freaking Pelicans fever to do. They've got a vibe and an energy in these Pelicans home games. They've made it all a NOLA culture thing. It's all rap and bounce music and brass music. And it's just, there's this vibe and energy in that building now that I don't know you can put a finger on it, but it's a real thing. And the Pelicans, had a 10-game losing streak, and then they've won 3 in a row. It all turned around with the Lakers home win on Saturday when they came back in the 4th. They smoked the Kings Sunday. They beat a good Atlanta team Tuesday. They're a 3-point home underdog against Cleveland, who's very good, great defensive team. But, man, Brandon Ingram's playing well again. He was out for a month and a half. He had 35 on Saturday against the Lakers. He had 30 on Tuesday. Trey Murphy is emerging as one of the best young three-point shooters I've literally ever seen. And I'm backing the Pels as a +3 home dog. And then I also like a prop. Jonas Valanciunas is rebounding over-unders 9.5 tonight. Cleveland has a big lineup with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. I like Jonas to go over 9.5. So those are I'm kind of focusing on the Pels stuff I know. When it comes to my NBA knowledge, to be honest, It ain't great, but I know the Pelicans. I watch every Pelicans game, and so I feel really good on the pulse of that, and I kind of just focus on it.
Well, I think you made a good point about the home court advantage. And, you look at their ATS numbers, they're covering almost 60% of their games at home, one of the better marks in the NBA. I mean, home court advantage is big, especially when you have, these kind of spots, these little spots where, you as you mentioned, it's kind of New Orleans flavor. I've even seen 3.5s out there. But I feel like if you have something that you're running with, you've had success with, you back it. And the numbers have spoken for themselves. They've been a pretty good dog, and they've been pretty good at home as well.
Well, they stink. They're a young team, and they have trouble closing games out in the fourth quarter on the road. And so, they're a team I don't bet as a road favorite ever, and games are supposed to win. Like, that's still a real thing with this bunch. But, man, I'm telling you, at home with that vibe and atmosphere, I trust them in the spot.
Also throw it out, 20-9 at home straight up this year, New Orleans. And this Cleveland team is not a good road team, 11-16 against the spread on the road. I think, you have a young, exciting team. You mentioned Brandon Ingram. You mentioned Trey Murphy. He was a terrific player at Virginia. So, a young team, a lot of success at home. I like it. Seems like a pretty
Murphy.
Good team.
I'm watching his. So I've been making money on his overs lately because he's emerging. So he's like a pure 3-point shooter. He's the second best foul shooter in the NBA, but he had a tendency to get lost in the corner, like not create enough shots. But he's gotten more assertive and is driving more and dunking more and getting to the line more. And so until Vegas starts putting his overs over 15, I'm going to keep riding them. That's like a prop I've been watching.
New Orleans had struggled really up until the beginning of February, but they've won a couple in a row now. They're starting to turn a corner a little bit. And, I think this is a good little spot for them here at home. You're still a pretty good offensive team. So Ben Mintz likes +3.5 for the New Orleans Pelicans against the Cleveland Cavs. Also, Jonas Valanciunas over 9.5?
9.5. Yeah, usually it's 10.5. So I like getting to 9.5 tonight. It all is over alternates on those two.
If anyone has any questions, feel free to drop them here. We're going to hang out
for the Super Bowl, man. We got to get this.
Another 10 or so minutes here. We're going to hang out. So if you have a question, feel free to drop. Obviously, the Super Bowl is Sunday. It feels like it's been forever since that game I went to against the Niners. Feels like it was a month ago. But the last thing I'll say, as a fan of the Philadelphia Eagles, I do believe they're the better team. I think they should be the favorite. I think defensively they're significantly better than the Kansas City Chiefs. An interesting, I think, caveat a lot of people don't know is Nick Sirianni was actually fired by Andy Reid. A lot of people don't know that.
Really?
Yes. Back when Andy first got the job at Kansas City, he got rid of Nick Sirianni fairly quickly. So this is kind of a coming back to full circle, and now it's kind of pupil against the teacher. And I think Nick Sirianni surely has the chip on his shoulder. I think when you really look at this game, when it comes down to it, I don't know if the Eagles anyone can shut down Travis Kelce, but I'll tell you right now, and you know this, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson is a hell of a safety. I think he can absolutely put a chink in the armor of the Chiefs here on that level. I like Chris Jones, obviously, but I think the Eagles have possibly the best offensive line in the history of football.
It really is, man. With all lanes healthy, it's a serious unit, man.
It's just, you look at every level. Now, I do think the Eagles will, they're not going to shut down the Chiefs. And that's one of the reasons I've said time and time again, I like the over. I think over 50.
Good. I'm glad you feel that way, because I also think games in Arizona, you don't have to worry about the weather. I know it's grass, but, man, I feel like I see a lot of games get wild out there in general.
Yeah, and I remember last season these two teams played in Philly, and, Patrick Mahomes went up and down the field. Now, I will say the Eagles, from a safety standpoint, were not as good. They didn't have James Bradbury last year either. So, look, do I think the Chiefs are going to put up 38 points like they did in that game? No. But I had this game, kind of 31-24, 34-27.
That's where I'm at too.
Yeah, you have no weather issues. You have two great quarterbacks, two offenses that should move up and down. Do I think the Eagles are going to shut down like they did the Niners and Giants? No, this is a major step up for that defense. This is a great defensive line too, because if you're talking about Chris Jones, you got to talk about Hassan Reddick. Hassan Reddick has been
Brandon Graham's been the most underrated D lineman in the NFL for like a decade. He's been so steady. He's been good his whole career, and you never hear people talking about his name, but he's incredible.
I mean, you got Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick, Fletcher Cox, Josh Sweat.
Yeah.
You got guys up and down. Now, I do think, again, the Chiefs are going to get theirs. Mahomes is Mahomes, and it's concerning to bet against Mahomes. But if I'm looking at this game, I think the Eagles are a slight favorite. I don't know if it's a great bet. I probably won't bet the side a ton. I like the over, though. I think it gets there. I think this is at worst a 31-24 type of game. I will say, and I've said this again, I said this to Kelly, I'll say this to anyone that listens. I think the props market begins to get harder and harder because, Ben, years ago, the prop market was kind of a barren wasteland. They had everything. You could bet on who would pop up on TV and things like that. You don't necessarily have that stuff now, and it's all kind of analytic based. And so many people are betting in the props market. It's a lot different. I think it's a tough market to win in.
Yeah.
Did you have any props though?
Yeah, well, so I have a couple. So KC has the 31st ranked pass defense in football, and they allow 33 passing touchdowns. Look, I mean, you see the Ole Miss on my shirt. I think AJ Brown is going on one in this game. And a lot of people hurt. Both the first two playoff games were blowouts, so the Eagles' passing numbers weren't great because they ran the clock out second half, and other teams weren't moving the ball. That won't be the case against Mahomes and the Chiefs. The Eagles are going to have to, open it up in this game. And I think Hurts is going to, we've seen Hurts push the ball down the field on deep shots to AJ all season long. I don't think KC's banged up at corner too. And it looks like Jarius Sneed's going to play, but he's coming off a concussion. They've been playing McDuffie and those rookies. I think AJ is about to eat. I think he's a top 5 to top 10 receiver in the NFL. He's been waiting his whole life on the Super Bowl. And his over under 72.5. I like his over. He's like plus 115 to score a touchdown. And Jeff, you probably realize this too. I feel like the juice on the touchdown bets is too much, man. I just the betting the touchdowns. I feel like so often, I don't know. I'm like more into betting the yardage than I am the.
I mean the markets are a lot harder, man. They just are. I mean, like I said, I think a lot of people are just, you see a lot of people. I just want to bet props. I want to bet props. Props are a lot harder. The props where you're going to make money, you got to lay a lot of juice on. And that's just the truth. As you said, some of these touchdown props, the money's all over the place. I will say one bet that I like is under 2.5 different players throw a pass. I don't foresee anyone doing anything weird in this game.
Yeah.
The Eagles, I think, they're not going to run a Philly special. Everybody knows they're going to try to do it. They're not going to do it. I don't see them. Anytime they brought that out, it's failed miserably since then. I think if you're Nick Sirianni, you got to create your own kind of way. That was a long time ago. Chiefs aren't really an offense that do that either. I don't know if that's involved here. I think the two players that throw passes are the two starting quarterbacks, as long as they don't get injured, obviously.
Yeah, I got one more I mentioned too. I like Marquez Valdez-Scantling over 36.5 yards. He went up because we saw it was a body count in the AFC Championship. I mean, freaking Tony had the ankle injury. Juju Smith had a knee injury. And McCole Hardeman tried to come back from that pelvis injury that landed him on an hour in week 9. He couldn't. Hardeman's out in the Super Bowl. Juju's going to play and Tony's going to play, but they've, been in and out of practice. And Mahomes, I feel like is, trust Valdez-Scantling a little more. And the other thing with Valdez-Scantling, he gets deep balls. I mean, they push the ball down the field to him. He can catch one ball and hit that over. So I'm kind of looking at his at 36.5 too.
I got to be honest, and I'm blown away that someone brought this one up. This, I think, is a great bet. I would lay. I mean, I'm surprised it's not higher. I mean, I was really surprised by this. I think this game is at worst in the most weird outcome. I think is 27-21. I just don't foresee both teams not getting to at least 20 here. I think there's a wide swath of different scores it could be in that case. I think this is a great play. I would lay 170 on this. I would lay 180 on this.
I guess the only alternate thought on that would be, remember what the Bucs defense did to that Chiefs O-line 2 years ago in the Super Bowl when they couldn't block them? But the Chiefs have addressed that O-line. I mean, they were really banged up. The O-line's improved a lot. They got a lot of young dudes on there now. I know Mahomes' ankle should be okay. I mean, he threw for over 302 touchdowns in the AFC Championship. Look, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just, the Eagles do have a very, very talented front seven. So,
and that's I mean, I remember last night I was talking with our guest about Gonzaga last night, and I made the case that why is Gonzaga laying this many points? But then Devil's Advocate said, well, this probably is a spot where they roll because they're pissed off, whatever. And they did. Your Devil's Advocate for this is you're right. The offensive line, if there's an issue in this game for a team, it's the Chiefs offensive line. But as you said, they've improved. I think this is a great bet. This is one of the better props to me in this one. Ben, before we let you go, because I know you got to get out of here around 4:30.
I'm flying to Arizona. I'm actually going to Arizona in the morning I'm watching the game at Barstool Scottsdale. Jeff, I'm in charge of the halftime entertainment.
Well, now, I'm sure you're not going to tell us what you're going to do.
No, I can't do that, but I can. Last year, I rapped California Love in the disco show.
Yeah, I remember
Aviators. The only thing I can tell you is that I can't do Rihanna. I don't have that in me. So I'm having to get more creative. You're not going to see me singing Umbrella. So that's all I can promise. I'm having to quote you, I'm going deep into my bag for this.
Well, we'll be fascinated to understand what you end up doing. Before you go, though, what's one game tomorrow that you have your eye on?
Okay, I have four. I'll just hit them real quick. The Alabama-Auburn rivalry game, the line looks super ratty. Bama, 2.5-point road favorite. Smells like shit to me. So I'm looking at Auburn as a 2.5-point dog just by the way just looking at the line.
That's already – I'm waiting for the lines to come out. That'd be a game I bet right
away. So the other ones I was looking at, West Virginia. West Virginia is a team that has big home road splits because they have to travel so much. Texas is -5 at home against them. Texas is in a bounce back spot after losing to Kansas Monday. West Virginia got part of a clean living. That was a miracle cover the other night for me with them. They didn't deserve to cover that. The other ones I was looking at, Virginia is a 5.5-point home favorite over Duke. Look, I just think Duke is like a lot more of a brand name than a good team this year, and so I'm looking to take shots going against them. Iowa State's in a bounce-back spot as a 5.5-point favorite at home against Oklahoma State off that kind of close West Virginia loss the other night. So those are some of the ones I'm looking at for tomorrow.
Texas really shut down West Virginia in the first matchup. I think this is a great spot for that group tomorrow. That's a good one. I like the one you mentioned as well with Auburn.
The Bama-Auburn, Auburn, that's such a big rivalry.
I'll tell you, though, and Kelly and I were all over this. We loved TCU a couple of weeks ago against Alabama, and it was a beautiful spot. I think this is a very similar one. No one's talking about Auburn this year. Great spot in their building.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama can't miss right now. I like it. Ben Mintz, good to see you.
Man. Look forward to coming on more and keep it up, Jeff. And Gonna be a good weekend. Long wait tonight, 9 p.m. Central. Late tip off here. So.
Well, I hope you will be involved with seeing what's going on. I'm probably gonna go out tonight, so I'll probably bet this game.
There you go. You're gonna drink some Stellas. So we got Mardi Gras going on here. Parade start at 6. My spot in Uptown NOLA is a block and a half off the parade route. So I'm just going to walk outside about 2 minutes, watch a little parade, and then go see the Pelicans. And then
I love it. I enjoy the game. Get a safe flight. Have fun in Scottsdale. I'm sure I'll see you soon, Ben. Good to see you.
Yeah, man. Thanks again for having me, Joe.
All right. Cheers, bro. Ben Mintz joining us. Always full of energy. He likes the Pelicans tonight, plus a 3.5 against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Jonas Valanciunas over 9.5 rebounds as well. Here's what I'll do, guys. We'll do a couple more minutes. If you have any comments or questions on anything tonight, someone's asking about Ohio Akron. I didn't have much on that one. You'd have to figure Akron bounces back, but Ohio is kind of one of those mid-tier, kind of good, kind of bad MAC teams. Akron should bounce back though off the loss to the Toledo Rockets. Didn't get there with that one. The only game I ended up betting tonight is the Youngstown State Penguins. I played the 3.5 there. I'm going to trust them. I like them on the road. Don't mind it. Going to rock with that. What else do we have here? Listen, dude, you've asked this question about 17 times. Yes, we bet with Barstool. That's who we work for. What an odd question. Seriously. Guys, please have some fucking brains when you come on here occasionally. And I don't mean to be rude, but some of you guys just don't seem to think with your brains ever. NKU Wright State. Look, to beat NKU, you got to be able to shoot the basketball. They run a zone. And if you can make threes, you're going to win the game. Not one of the strong points of Wright State this season. What else do we have here? Yeah, I do like Kent State. What's it have to do with today? No, it isn't the first time. Do you want me to highlight how many times you've asked that today in this chat? You've asked it 5 or 6 different times. Why do Eagles fans keep saying Hurts is better than Mahomes? Not sure. I didn't say that. I think it's ridiculous. Plug your Phillips video. It was awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it was. It was great. I enjoyed doing it. It's a little different than the normal content I do on that channel, so it's not going to be as well received, but it is what it is. I liked and enjoyed it. So yeah, check that out on my YouTube channel. Please expose them. Yeah, well, it's a dumb question. I don't know why you'd ask it. Nadu, you're a legend. Thank you, Justin Young. Appreciate that. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts tonight. Just going to play Youngstown and then get into the Super Bowl this weekend. We got big day of college hoops tomorrow. Remember, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern, me, Kelly in Vegas, Megan Making Money will do the Saturday Spaces. So make sure you check that out. We'll enjoy it. I don't have any Eagles jerseys. I don't wear jerseys. Jerseys are for little children. I don't wear them anymore. I don't have fan gear. It's not really my thing. I have a few Eagles shirts that I wear, around the house or something, but I don't do jerseys. All right. What else do we have here? Who's the Super Bowl MVP? I'll go Jalen Hurts. Pretty simple. Maybe AJ Brown. I think that was a good call by Mintz for sure. I have no idea. How would I know that? Though I do know someone in the personnel department, equipment and stuff. Maybe I'll have to reach out to him, see if he knows. Other than that, Monday, guys, I want to tell you about next week. I will likely not be on the air the next couple of days. I'll probably return Thursday. I got to travel Wednesday. I got to travel Monday. I'll actually be up in the air on Monday at 4 o'clock. Tuesday, we got a lot going on with the party and everything. I'll probably do like a short video on Twitter about some stuff that I might like. Wednesday, I got to come home. So I'll probably return Thursday for this show. It's just how it goes. I got to travel. You can only get flights at a certain time. So it is what it is. No, I don't bet St. Louis. I'm done with that team. I don't, guys. Again, I think some of you guys are a little too. I don't have anything on this one. Not ever going to change my tune on St. Louis. Just don't want to bet them. Just don't want to be involved with them. Thank you. And yes, if you're in Chicago, you're near Chicago, you're in sight of Chicago, come Tuesday to the bar on Hubbard Street, Barstool River North. We're going to have some fun. Party is powered by Pink Whitney. Going to have shot specials. Going to give things away to some of the women there, raffles and stuff. I might even do an open bar. We'll see. So make sure you come out, have some fun if you live in the area. White Sox Dave will be there. Eddie will be there. Chief will be there. I'll be there. Hannah will be there. Chris Castellani will be there. Danny Conrad will be there. I think everybody at Barstool Chicago will be there. I'll be there. Chris Castellani. Plenty of people are going to be there. So come hang out. And you can, I think, see in person who I am, what I do. So, yes, White Sox Dave will be there. Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate that. We ever do a thoughts on a special on Vincent Gigante? Vincent Gigante was the first sit-down episode we did. To be honest, man, like I've pretty much talked about all the big gangsters. I involve when I do talk about the mafia. I more or less talk about smaller ones at this point. You got to realize, I mean, in what I do on YouTube, I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I'm one of the bigger channels on YouTube that talks about the mafia. It's a niche industry, and Vincent Gigante's just been played out. I know his daughter. I know all sorts of stuff about Gigante. He's a huge name. So for me, will I ever do something on Gigante? I mean, maybe like on a Barstool dog walk or something. But at least on my channel, I feel like the people that follow my channel know enough about him already. So I don't think. Yeah, I'm not going to that. Not going to happen. I'm not eating deep dish. I have no interest in that. Don't want to eat it. I'm going to Billy Goat Tavern on Monday when I get there. I've always wanted to go there, and it's right near my hotel. And then I'm going to go to Portillo's. I'm going to get some chocolate cake, and I'm going to go to sleep. It's why I work out every day. I'm going to have a good time. Probably fuck on Monday night and go to bed. Wake up Tuesday, go to the office, hang out, do some shows, go party, go to sleep, wake up Wednesday, go to the office, hang out a little bit, go home. Be home by Wednesday night. Pretty easy. Pretty easy trip. But yeah, it's Billy Goat Tavern. It's a Little Portillo's. And yeah, job done. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I hope you all enjoy your day. I hope you have a good evening. I like the Youngstown State Penguins tonight. I'm going to rock with them. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. I'm going to play the over 50.5. I've already played it. And I'll be in Chicago. So next week, won't have a show until Thursday. I'll be back then. We'll have a good time. So make sure you're there. Make sure you join us. Have a great night. Until next time, salute.